Hi, I'm Nancy Blotner. At Caldwell University, we believe that all citizens should be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the PNC Foundation, which supports early childhood education through Grow Up Great, a multi-year initiative to help prepare children from birth to age 5 for success in school and life. The New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Sharing Network, Caldwell University, PSE&G, JFK Medical Center, and by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by bestofnj.com, covering all New Jersey has to offer.
Steve Adubato here. It is my pleasure to introduce Nicole Langdo, who is founding director of the Painted Oak Nursery School and Kindergarten in Hopewell, New Jersey. How you doing?
That's right. I'm great. Thank you.
We're going to be having 3 conversations with 3 educational innovators in the area of early childhood education today. And what I found fascinating about you, we had a panel discussion with you and 3 of your colleagues. Your school is fascinating for many reasons, but not the least of which is much of the learning goes on outside. Talk about that.
Right. That's right. So every day the children come to school in their full gear for the day.
Define full gear.
Full gear looks like in the fall and spring rain gear. So rain jacket, rain pants, can be little bibs or pants with their backpacks fully packed and ready for the day. Food, water, extra clothes in case or when they get wet or muddy and might need to change underneath. Thinking that the rain gear obviously does keep them relatively clean, so to speak. And then we trek out into the woods for learning and play. So that is circle with songs and counting and books and patterns and sequencing and questions and all of that. And then play in the woods, being little among the trees.
But let's be clear, there is a philosophy here, and it's grounded based on?
Yes, so we draw inspiration from the Reggio Emilia approach.
The Reggio Emilia approach.
Yes,
Talk about that.
So what that means is that the children are really the directors of their own learning. The teachers are the facilitators. So what that means really is that the teachers will ask the children questions, which could be, did you hear that sound as we were walking to the woods? What do you think it was? And get a conversation started and see where the children take it, which then gives us insight into what they're interested in, what they want to know more about, maybe what they already know. And then we bring in more learning materials to support what they want to learn about, as opposed to what the teachers think they should learn about.
So back up for a second, if we could. So I'm fascinated by the use of questions. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful book called Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Dr. Marilee Adams, in which she argues that if you ask the right questions, you can not only change the conversation, but change the dynamics of a relationship and ultimately change your life.
Sure.
Are you saying that teachers are taught to facilitate by asking great questions?
We do, yes. And
are they trained to do that?
Well,
or do you believe that's by instinct?
It's been a little while since I've been in school.
But you're teachers.
But yes.
Why do they know to ask these questions is my point.
So we follow the lead of the children, and I think just ask, almost like mirroring back what our experience is for them. So if we see something, we'll ask them if they saw it or if they heard it, or it can be as simple as, which way they came to school today and what did you see on your way, just as a way of getting conversations started.
So the key is the conversation.
Yes, really, more so than the question. But then when the child will say something, then we follow up, with more questions to try to get them talking and see what they know and what they want to know more about.
How did you get into this?
Well, that's an interesting question.
See, I have the questions.
Oh, you do, yeah.
I do not have the answers. Go ahead.
So I love being a teacher. I've been a teacher for a long time. Right out of college, went into teaching for the flexibility and the creativity that every day brought something new, a new experience, drawing from the children's interests. From day to day, every day could look different based on the mood they were in, or if they got enough sleep, or if they read something interesting that they wanted to bring into class. And so what led me then to start the school was feeling that environment where questioning and a project-based approach was not as evident for me as a teacher as much at the, towards my 20-year mark as a classroom teacher. And so then deciding that I wanted to have a greater impact, and also the way that I like to teach led to creating the school so that could be maintained.
I'm curious about this. Starting a school.
Yes.
Founding a school.
Mm-hmm.
How much courage did it take to do that?
It took a very supportive husband and understanding children. And
how old are your children?
My children are 8 and 10 now.
Wow.
And my daughter came to the school when she was 4. So she helped, a little bit with the inspiration of what a very rich learning environment should look like for preschoolers, and a very active preschooler as she was. And parents that are looking for a different approach to preschool for their children. We do not do worksheets at our school.
Do not do worksheets?
No, we do not.
Tests?
No.
Grades?
No. No.
How do you recruit the parents/students?
Well, our parents are already either looking for something different.
How would you know? I'm a marketing person. I'm fascinated by. So how do you find them? How do they find you?
They're friends. Really now at this point it's word of mouth. So we're now in our 5th year. So we're still in our infancy as far as schools go, but it's really word of mouth, and it's similar social circles. So a lot of our families would be out hiking on the weekends anyway, or at local farms, or doing these kinds of programs with their children anyway. But we have other parents too that will say, I know this is good for my children or my child, but I'm not going to stand out in the rain while they jump in puddles. So we're so happy that you will.
And to the skeptics who say, come on, that's not the way. It's not a traditional or standard way to have an early childhood experience. A, do you care? And B, if you do, what do you say?
So usually I will ask for parents who are typically around my age, maybe a little bit younger at this point, but what their favorite memories were of a child growing up. And many times it is playing outside, after the sun goes down with neighborhood children, only coming home when, mom or dad calls you from the back porch. And really parents, my mom had no idea what I was doing with my sister outside as we were far from the house. And so they will typically be able to recall, yes, well, my favorite memories were outside as a child, and we're losing that for our children now. This is a new generation of children that are spending almost 8 hours on average a day in front of a screen. And
some kind of platform, some
30
screen.
minutes, yes, and only 30 minutes outside, which is leading to a lot of issues, health issues for little ones.
Not the least of which is obesity.
Yes, exactly.
Nicole, this is fascinating, and you are to be credited for following your dream, but more importantly also, you're helping an awful lot of kids.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
You are a real educational innovator when it comes to early childhood. Thank you so much.
I appreciate
Stay with
that.
us. We'll be right back right after this.
To watch more Caucus New Jersey, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are joined by Benjamin Joseph, media specialist, Walnut Ridge Primary School, based where?
Vernon, New Jersey.
Beautiful Vernon,
all the way
New
up the
Jersey.
tip where the Appalachian Trail runs through.
What does it mean to be a media specialist?
It's a great question. I've been in the library for 6 years, and I use that kind of interchangeably with the ages that I work with. But I think the first year, it was adapting a library that was child-friendly and picture-focused, And now, over time, with 21st century skills, it's really changed into media resources, using tech as tools, building social projects and atmospheres for students to be able to talk and build those foundational skills.
So you're using technology to be innovative, to teach, to engage students, right?
Yes.
You have brought a whole range
That's right.
of fascinating technology. We would need 2 hours to go through all of them,
Yes.
but we're going to pick our spots.
That's right.
Now,
You tell me.
This is fascinating. I'm going to do this one.
Okay.
Tell me what we're doing here. This is, follow me here. I'm going to throw those notes
So
away. I
this
don't
is
need
a
them.
pen that I've taken time to record my voice on, and
Okay.
the book is called Duck Rabbit.
Well, why did this just go on right now?
That's right. Well, it's a nice little beep and letting you know that
All right.
you could. Let's just check that the light is lit up.
Go ahead.
There we go. Okay, you're all
so
set
here we
to
go.
go.
Check this out, team. Now, I know what it says. I could read it, but
What are you talking about?
is that your voice?
That's my voice. Yeah.
You did this.
That's right.
And then we turn the page. And hold on.
Those are ears. Silly.
So, Steve, the question is though, what do you think that is?
What do you mean?
What is that? Is that a duck or a rabbit?
That's a rabbit.
Oh, I think it's a duck.
Are we supposed to have a debate about this?
I think so. And that's the point of view that we're teaching kids these days. But now let's do it at 4 years old and 5 years old without the worry if we're reading the right words. But now we're having a conversation around a book with a little bit of tech.
So you're saying that someone would say, oh, that this technology reads the book for the kid. That's not what it is.
No, not at all. I actually talk to students about being readers. I asked that question we started last week, and the kids say, oh, no, we're not readers. I say, hello, do you look at pictures? When you pass by different fast food restaurants, do you know what they are by what the sign looks like?
Right.
That's reading. So students also are empowered by starting to look at pictures and just tell us what they're thinking about
Love
the
it.
story.
Come on, let's go. What do you got?
All right, so this is the most exciting thing I've been using lately, augmented reality.
Guys, make sure we can get this. John, that camera right there. So
All
keep
right,
talking
great.
it through.
So here's augmented reality, and I organize it in a way that's a nice platform for the students to use. But if you can press the one with the light bulb there, Steve.
I got the one with the light bulb is this one, I think, right there.
That's right. So 5-year-olds, we have 40 apps listed, but we also have picture cues. Now, this is just one example of augmented reality. This is a target, we call it, or a picture that NASA's put it
Tilt it forward, come
online.
on.
Right? Okay.
Got it.
So it's a target, and this is all STEM or STEAM related, science, technology, engineering.
Let's go.
But now let's click into the app that NASA's provided for free as well.
Spacecraft 3D.
Spacecraft 3D, they also have different things for their shuttles and satellites. So now we're going to click in, and I would love to see what the Mars rover looks like. Maybe Curiosity, which went up 10, 15
Right.
years ago, right? And then you also have your Spirit. But let's click on Curiosity. Now I'm going to hold this target behind where the camera is.
Whoa!
Do you see that?
Tell us what's going on right now.
So now we can see Curiosity. We can go in close and we can look at the wheels. What happened with Curiosity for the
What's
NASA
Curiosity?
scientists? Curiosity was the Mars rover that went up and is now still up on Mars. But it wasn't planned to be there for as long as it has or is still running. What happened was about 2-3 years in, I can't be specific, but one of the wheels stopped turning. So the scientist had to find a way to reprogram, figure out how to drive the
Right.
Curiosity to where it needed to be charged by solar power. And that was a project that's just like what we're doing in our library. I give kids a project called maker spaces, and then they use tech to maybe talk with each other and decide what is
Figure out what to do
solve.
with that.
That's right.
I love this. Give me one more. Let's go.
So we also have Dinosaurs, and then for older students, we have the real makings of the human heart. So you can isolate different
This is just a
forms
book.
and different.
Where's the high tech here?
Oh, if you want to see a dinosaur pop off the page, then use the augmented reality.
Hold on one
I know,
second.
all kinds of stuff falling out. This is something else that's a little bit different, Steve. This here is teaching the language of coding. So this is a Bee-bot, and there's lots of different robots.
Bee-bot.
A Bee-bot,
Got this, John?
right?
Oh
So-
my God.
So you can see these.
Kip, you got this, buddy? Go ahead.
You
Talk me
see
through.
these arrows. So, Steve, if I was asking you on a chart that I have on the floor to get the Bee-bot somewhere, you might need to decide, okay, I need to go forward 3, right 4,
Right.
back 2, and that is sequential ordering, which is coding. And so coding is being taught through a robot or a toy, but what students are learning is to be empowered by something so huge. Really, what is coding? And if we start to think about that as 4 or 5-year-olds, just like we learned Spanish when we're young, we have students creating the new jobs and technologies we don't even know yet.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
With all this technology, and by the way, you also have a camera there too. Real quick, can we do this, and then I gotta go low tech on you.
That's
Show me
right.
what that is.
This is a chesty with GoPro. So
A chesty?
That's right. This is the child version size, but the students can wear this and help teach.
We'll go to that camera right there.
So students wear this, and it gets that point of view perspective of their hands moving things or putting away books or using the library.
So what do you do with the video you have on there?
Parents love to watch these videos, and they know what we're doing, so they'll say, Mr. Joseph, I was watching the video, I know exactly what book baggies are. I know exactly what magic wands
So
are.
the kid, they can see what the kid did during the day?
And the kid can reteach it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you get any pushback from parents or others who say, all right, listen, enough with the technology, back off on it?
I think that being a great teacher is being reflective. I think I do that to myself, right? I think that we're talking about such young children now that might not have time to play outside every day, and they might not have time to visit the public library. So my biggest thing is just giving all the resources to students and parents and build that culture between school and home to be a team. And when you're working together with parents and teachers and students, it really just becomes a lifelong learning experiences wherever you're at.
So you're not worried about kids engaged in technology too much, or be too much engaged in technology?
It can't be mindless time. It can't be wasted screen time.
None of this is.
We can't be consumers and not actively participating. But no, none of this isn't. This is asking a question and then finding the answer with whatever technology is available. We also have 3D printer in the K-1 school,
Right.
so students can see what things look like as they're being built straight up like we're doing in today's world.
Before I let you out of here, you were part of this panel that we did on Caucus with 3 other colleagues, great
Yes.
early childhood, early education innovators. When did you know that you were going to do this for your life's work?
It's a great question. I always thought that I'd be with students a little bit older because I knew that there's such a challenge at the elementary level of really building simple, clear, explicit directions. And over time, I've gotten so much better at talking and sharing details because in order to present to a 5th grader how to use a library, there's so many little steps. And the same thing with technology. So I think that the most exciting part is that whatever the day brings, whatever the new challenge, it's breaking down pieces for my audience, which are 5, 6-year-olds.
Well done. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much for having me, Steve.
Love it. When we come back, one more educational innovator who's making a difference with very young children who are the leaders of tomorrow. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We are pleased to be joined by Joanna Borowski, Manager of Education and Community Engagement at New Jersey Symphony Orchestra. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Steve.
You were part of a great, as I said, panel discussion we had on early childhood education. You love classical music because?
When I was 4 years old, my family was living in Hong Kong. And one day I just said to my mom, and I remember this, I said, I want to learn how to play the piano. And she said, well, we're in Hong Kong. We're going to be going back to the US in about a year, and you can learn then. I said, no, I want to learn now, Mom. She said, well, we don't have a piano. And I said, rent one. And she did. And I started studying piano, and that was...
How old were you?
I was 4.5.
Come on.
And she was the biggest supporter I had. I would go to weekly lessons, and I'd come home and practice, and I'd have, a little 1-finger or 2-finger tune, and she'd say, oh, please play that. That's my favorite. And that's how she would encourage me to practice. And I have had a passion for it ever since. And to be able to share it with young people has been an incredible joy and an incredible privilege.
Talk about the role of New Jersey Symphony Orchestra as it relates to helping early childhood education students, if you will, 3 to 5, in the city of Newark.
Sure. Well, the city of Newark is definitely at our heart. That's where we live, where we exist, and where we go all the way to the state from there. So Newark is at the heart of our mission. And the 3 to 5-year-olds in Newark, those classrooms, those pre-K classrooms, have the opportunity every year to be visited by members of the New Jersey Symphony and be visited by our partners Touch the Music, who are early childhood specialists, and they bring in instrument petting zoos. They go right to the rugs in the classrooms. And so it inspires the children and engages them. They get to see these instruments that they've never seen before. And then at the end of that, their teachers take them in a bus on a field trip to NJPAC, where the New Jersey Symphony performs a concert specifically tailored for them. And it just engages their senses.
What's it do for these kids?
It engages their senses, but also at a really critical stage of their development, it is showing them what's possible. It's helping them to learn at an early age to be leaders, to collaborate.
As a student of leadership, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Sure.
What is the correlation between learning about music, classical music, and becoming a leader?
Because they see how the instruments function not only within their own instrument families, but in a larger orchestra as a whole, and that at different times, different instruments are leading the charge or are leading the music. And then when they have an opportunity to really learn it themselves, and that doesn't necessarily happen right there and then, but we do have programs as they get older where they can become the leaders, the musical leaders, where they can pick up the violin and be the one to lead the ensemble or be the one to lead the quartet. And it's just an important part of their development, and it helps with their academic success and their social skills, just really especially in this 21st century world where collaboration, which is inherent in music.
Music education. There are some who have said that they are concerned about the place for music education moving forward and that it could get squeezed out of early childhood education, you say?
I don't think so, because I think it's so critical, but I also think we at the New Jersey Symphony are uniquely positioned to be able to continue delivering it where some school systems are not able to. But we can deliver the programs. We can give accents to the learning that they're already having, and kind of takes that burden off of the school system because we're providing it.
But someone might say, why is the symphony orchestra doing that? And you are there to go out and perform, and you do, and you're extraordinary. Do you see it at the core of your mission to be doing this with 3 to 5-year-olds in Newark?
Yes, because we're engaging the whole community by starting with the youngest members. And in many ways, we're really inspiring the music lovers of the future, whether they decide to study an instrument or not, that music can be at the heart of their community. Any music is really at the heart of their community, but we're showing them that this is something that can be theirs, that they can appreciate, that they should participate in if it speaks to them.
And if someone were to argue, come on, these are kids in the inner city, what would be the connection between them and classical music if someone were to play the quote-unquote stereotype game, which is totally counterproductive and negative and has no value, but could be thinking it, you say?
I would say that to not even go there, because I would say, come with me to a classroom.
What would they see?
They would see 3 to 5-year-olds sitting up and listening, and the aha moment of when the first notes are played for them. And that's why part of the preschool program is individual members of the symphony go in and basically give them a private concert. And so they, this violin that they've never seen before, all of a sudden they hear the music that it makes, and it engages their senses.
Do they get to touch the instruments?
Yes.
Talk about that.
Our partners, Touch the Music, actually bring what we call an instrument petting zoo. So they bring violins and trombones and drums, and they show the children the instrument, because that even that first whoa moment of, look at this thing I've never seen before. Right. But then they have a chance to pick it up and hold it in their hands, or use their hands or use sticks and bang on the drum, or pick up a French horn and have someone kind of supporting them because it's very heavy.
It's interesting. I have to ask you this. You mentioned about an orchestra being like a team and leadership being involved. What's the greatest lesson you have learned about leadership?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say a good leader is first and foremost a good listener. And that's something that you learn being part of an orchestra or part of a smaller group. Because again, as a pianist, I was always a little bit on the outside of the orchestra because there's no piano in most orchestral works. But being able to play with smaller groups and being part of chamber music groups, you have to listen in order to be successful.
Joanna Borowski with the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the PNC Foundation, the New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Sharing Network, Caldwell University, PSE&G, JFK Medical Center, and by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.